Hey, what's going on, Credit Family? I'm Jay Leather, and I apologize for the scruffiness. It's the winter. I haven't really been shaving or getting a haircut, but I love making these videos. Today I just want to talk about gas cards and the way that I use them to help me build my business credit. There's going to be some people that are going to tell you that business credit is expensive and that there's really no way of making money, things like that. The first thing I want to say to that is, because I had somebody say a comment to me about building business credit and how expensive it can be. Well, the first thing we want to talk about is focusing on the vendors that you could apply for, that you can actually use, such as, let's say eBarnett, Wilmar, SupplyWorks, which are kind of the same company that Home Depot owns them, right? Or they're companies that Home Depot bought them off, right? And for example, like I applied with eBarnett. I thought it was a lot better than SupplyWorks for whatever reason, and they approved me for initially the first time I applied was like $600 or 500, something like that. And of course, then I applied for the Pro Card, and I was able to go to Home Depot and buy the things I needed. I do landscaping, so there's endless possibilities, from lawnmowers to blowers to I can go on. Wood, tools, anything you need. Granger, there's tons of things you can use. Quill as well, Uline, and so you could begin there. There's actually no rush. There shouldn't be a deadline or how fast you should be able to build business credit. If you're like me, you're going to be working 5 days a week. Hopefully, you have a job, and if you're not, then basically what's going to happen is that you're just going to be using all your time for building business credit. When I first started building business credit, I started realizing that what companies will approve you just with your business being established correctly with your EIN, DUNS, phone, website, fax, all that good stuff, right? And so I first applied for Pilot Flying J. I had no credit established. I didn't even have SUMA or strategic reporting on my business credit. I applied, and then I was speaking to a lot of people that have applied, and they're like, yeah, they usually guarantee you. They usually start you off like $500, $1,000, maybe a little bit more, and they give you the option of getting the truck maintenance. So they gave me $1,000, I think, was for gas, and then they gave me $800 for truck maintenance. So right away, right off the bat, I was set up with gas if I needed it, and some type of repair service for my vehicles, right? Because I only have 3 trucks. They're small little Ford Rangers, but when one of them breaks, you don't want to use your own money. You want to keep some cash flow. So I applied for Pilot Flying J, and I did a little bit of research, and in my experience, they don't automatically report. I had to have Dun & Bradstreet contact them, and I had to try and add the trade reference. That was one way that I did it, but they report, and that's great. Then what I did is I applied for Fieldman. So yeah, so with that one business that I had, I applied for Fieldman, and I only had maybe a couple of references reporting to my business credit. So Fieldman gave me $1,000 with no PG or with no deposit. But the second time I applied with another business, I didn't have any references, and they asked me to put a deposit. It was only $200, the minimum. $200 got me like $600 in credit of gas. So that was great. Fieldman did report to all 3, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. I didn't have to call or have DNB contact them. That was great. I also applied later on for the BP card. With one business, they asked me to put $200. With the other one, it was no deposit. So I would say before you apply for these gas cards, it depends on what route you're in. For me, it didn't really matter whether I put a couple $100. I just had a little bit extra money, so I put the $200 for the BP, and then I also applied for WEX cards. I applied for the Circle K because where I live, There was there's two, and then there's an actual WEX fueling station. Basically, anybody who's got WEX cards can go there. And I was asking the people that work there, so I was able to verify that. So I had Pilot Flying J, Fuelman, and then I had WEX, Circle K. So I had 3 cards that were reporting to all the bureaus. So right off the bat, I started like that. And of course, you want to have your strategic network solutions, your Sumo Office Supplies, your Quill, your Grainger, your Uline. And I've made a video about those, so you guys might want to watch that. So I was one of the things that I did with the fuel card too is that I was able to take it on a road trip, and when I came back, of course, I had to pay all the gas. But you know what? I think going on a trip without having to worry about an expense right off, just right there and then, I think that's really good. I went to Texas, Arizona, Nevada, came back to Washington, Oregon, and then came back to California. I thought it was really nice. But yeah, so if you don't have any luck with Uline, Grainger, Quill, because of whatever reason, if they're making you prepay, I personally wouldn't listen to that. I'd rather just wait 3 months and make sure that your website is done, that you're registered on Google, Yelp, Bing, Yellow Pages, all that, Manta. You should be already, because Grainger is one of the ones that are going to be a little bit more difficult to get, in my opinion, because these guys. Also, one of the things that I wanted to speak about Grainger, for some reason that I don't know, people are saying, oh, well, you need a business checking account. You need it, but you don't need it for Grainger. I've been building business credit for different businesses for a few years, maybe 2.5 now. And I've worked with a lot of people that are also building credit, and none of them have told me, or we've discussed, that Grainger does not ask for a business checking account. And I think that when people make videos about that, they confuse and they mislead people. If you don't need a requirement, such as a business checking, which you should already have no matter what, but if you happen not to have it, you should still be able to apply for Uline, Quill, and Grainger and, get an approval. So, I like to really point out the facts and the myths, because this is important. Use your money wisely. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, is always, always, always start with strategic network solutions and Sumo Office Supplies. These guys don't require anything as long as you have your EIN and your business established, of course, properly set up. And right away, you spend $60 on each, and they report to Experian and Equifax. And if you, so that's how you begin, right? And I was actually able to get a couple or $2,000 for each trade line. So that's great, because later on, when I want to go, what was that, like a tier 4 or higher, whenever it's time to apply for business credit cards, the way that I did it, I had to PG them. But with my first business, I had to, I had already a lot of trade lines. And when it came down to applying for the cash business credit cards, some of them, most of them, I had to PG, but I was okay with that because I got high limits. I was able to get between $5,000 to $15,000 each. So for one, $10,000, for the other one, $8,000, $4,000. And what I did, I held on to those, and then I try to remove some of my inquiries, because what I wanted to do later is also apply for the loans. So, of course, websites like Credit Suite and the other big ones, they'll teach you, that you could get funding right off the bat, but you need good personal credit. And of course, you should work on both. It takes a little bit of time, but it's doable. So once I had all my business credit cards, right, I use them here and there, and then that way I could get a better or request higher limits. So I kept them for 6 months to a year before I asked for more. For increases. I apologize. Every 4 to 6 months, I would ask for increases. But before I apply for the personal loan or for the business loans, and I don't mean going to the bank and getting a business loan, which I think just, it's a waste of time. getting a loan from your bank, it's possible, but we're not looking to get 10, 15K. We're looking to get a lot of money to buy a property, or else why the hell are we here, right? So think about this. I got to the fourth, fifth tier. I got a lot of business credit cards, and my goal was to use them and ask for higher limits. So I kept doing this for a while, and I watched my inquiries. So as the time went by and asked for more credit limits, my inquiries, I was disputing them, or I was trying to see if I could remove them, so that when I applied for the other loans, where you have to have a business and then you co-sign with your personal credit, right? So now I got a few of these loans, and then I had business credit cards. And it's so simple. All you have to do is liquidate them. Hit up Credit Suite, hit up many of these services. They'll cash out all your loans and all your credit cards for very little. Who cares how much they charge you if it's not that much, right? Let me take that back. Of course, we care how much they charge you. But if it's only 1 or 2% and you're cashing out all your loans and all your business credit cards, if you season your credit report, your business and personal, for a while, and you make it look good like it should on the application, what you're going to get is you're going to get higher limits. So you're going to be able to cash all that money out. Now, it's really up to you if you want to buy a property, if you want to buy a home, if you want to buy whatever, however your life is, however you see yourself retiring, however you see yourself using your money to invest, whatever you want to do. That's how I did it. I thought it was really simple because I didn't really have to change anything. I registered my business and I kept working in my regular job. Then when I needed to buy something or bill or apply for a trade line or spend a little bit of money, I'd use the money that I'm making in my regular job. Yeah, it took a while, but guess what? Even if you didn't do it, you still have to go to work. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to drive to work. You still have to do everything. So why not add a second task to your daily lives? Yeah, I got to go to work, but I can still build business credit. So it's like 2 lanes driving in the same, or riding or pointing out to the same direction. And the goals are ultimately the same: financial stability, financial freedom. But I don't like to use those words because I feel like they're all over the internet and they're misleading. So there you have it. I built an excellent business credit. I applied for business credit cards. I did PG them because it's a little bit hard to get no PG credit cards, right? Business credit cards. So I got those. I got the loans. And of course, some of these loans or credit cards, so they're going to ask you not to have enough. They don't like a lot of inquiries. They don't like anything negative. Obviously, right? Somebody's lending you money. They want to make sure that you're the right candidate, that you're going to pay them back. So what did I do with the money? Well, I bought a house, which was my first one. Then I rented it out, but I didn't rent it out the whole house. I ended up renting the rooms just so I could get a little bit more money. I turned the garage into another room on the back side on the backyard where I live. It's all flatlands. We don't have hills. We don't have, it's just an older town, but it's a big town. So we all have big backyards and big front yards. And in the backyard, I built a couple like almost like little apartments. But I want to say they're more like duplexes or, and I was able to collect a little bit more rent like that. And I even built a little parking spaces in the back, and I divided the house, like in the back. I divided the backyard so that when people that were renting the rooms inside the house, whenever they stepped to the backyard, they still had a big space. However, the people that were living in the backyard were closer to the back street, and they had access through the back gate, and they were able to park and actually go into their little homes. But whenever they looked, whenever the backyard people, they faced the house, they could see a fence, right? It was a fence that was divided. So I was able to capitalize as much money as I could to pay for the mortgage and to slowly start paying back the credit cards and business loans and all that stuff. So if someone tells you that business credit is a waste, that you're going to spend money, guess what? It's a lot better than going to one of these local property management places where you could hire a local spot, like an actual physical spot, right, to put your business and pay what, $1,500 to $2,000, $2,500 a month. You're not going to know if you're going to make money, right? Everybody thinks that they're excited to make a business, but then they realize that it doesn't work for them, or that they're not getting the money back as they thought they would. I prefer to do like this and save myself $1,500 to $2,000 a month. You know, yeah, you could run your business from your home. I do that, but my address is an actual physical address, and it makes a lot of sense. So all these tips I gave you, I know it was about gas carts, but I'm probably just gonna make the title build business credit, all kinds of things, right? Well, that's all I gotta say, and this is Jay Leather, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.